Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. Today, I've kicked Matto out. I've got someone far better, expert on all things PlayStation. Ryan Betson, how's things, mate?
I'm very well, man. I'm very, very well indeed. Expert on all things PlayStation. I'll take it. I will question its authenticity, but I'll take it
You've got
because the answer is you. But once again, if you want like the best duo, I'm sorry, Max, in Australian PlayStation, it's you and I. The best trio would be you, me, and Max. But no, it's just you and
you'll
I
keep
today.
pitching me on that idea, and
Oh,
we'll just
absolutely,
see where it takes us one
absolutely.
day. But
Look, I didn't realize like Matto Phil, would be caught in the crosshairs and be some collateral damage in
just,
me trying to just talk PlayStation with you. But
he's off enjoying a holiday, and he'll be back for next week's episode. And in the meantime,
some of you may die, and it's the risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, that's a good quote. I love that one. All right, I thought we discussed this.
Yeah.
And we thought that let's just have a general chat about all things PlayStation. It was absolutely the right way to go. You host the near longest running. No, when did you officially take over?
In terms of stats that I can fuck
of
around with,
episodes.
We have exceeded. I believe we've exceeded. Well, we've hit 400.
Yep.
Episodes of the last week. I believe that Platinum Explosion had also hit 400. But they have not released an episode since November of last year. So I do
you're the
believe
only one standing, and if not the most capped, then you're about to.
We were about to, yeah.
I'm gonna try and double check the platinum number.
And like I still don't know why. By the way, I ask myself this all the time: why we still do it? What's going on?
It's just the unwillingness to go away. Oh, they haven't numbered the episodes. Fuck, that's a pain in the ass.
Bumholes. But yeah, absolutely, it is true. It's just my willingness to not give up on the bit.
That's all it takes, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Just keep going. Keep doing it. Annoying people. Each and every week.
Oh, hang on. Does that tell me? So, I'm Who cares? We'll just fucking do our thing. I'm scrolling through their... I've gone through their podcast feed, and I've clicked on the most recent episode. It was dated the 10th of November, 2024. It's called PS5 Pro is for anyone who seeks the frames. And then I scroll down. This is on Apple Podcasts. And it says the length is 28 minutes, so I wouldn't even call it a real episode. Too short for that.
Well, they have it. Yeah, they've cut theirs down early.
I
know this suddenly just become this will be everyone else's PlayStation podcast.
We'll get there. Episode 363.
363.
363. So I think you've already got it.
Sweet, I'll take it.
They might have had other things. Or look, to be fair, it could be a case of some old episodes disappearing. But it seems like you might already have that title. And then, of course, there's my ill-fated show with the fraud.
There was Operation PlayStation, still one of the best names. Sadly, one of the worst hosts, alongside one of the best hosts. And then, of course, there was Dan Allen's PS5 Central.
Speaking of frauds.
Yeah. So either Dylan, Ash, myself, or Max will be exposed as giant frauds in the next coming months. It does seem to be a trend.
Don't reveal your trophy stats near me, otherwise you're fucked.
Oh, you're welcome to, and I will tell you that they're not as good as they should be.
Max keeps it private because I was like,
oh, he's lazy though.
I know he explained the whole thing when we were playing. Of all things, for anyone watching, I'll talk about this more next week in the updates episode. I've been playing Anthem in the last week with Max, but I was like, I went to go check out your numbers. You're all private. He goes, yeah, I just can't be fucked because like maybe I'll get a code and then I have to remember to turn it off and turn it on again. And he's like, why bother? I'm like, you're right. Why bother? Why not just keep it on all the time and breach the embargo? Who cares?
Well, apparently that's just something you can do according to the internet. Now people just breaching embargoes for no damn reason.
Love you, Lance.
Where's the respect?
We have a lot of respect for all things PlayStation, though.
That is true.
And as such, we're going to talk about them for quite a while. So let's kind of kick things off because this is one of the, I guess, the hot topic items within the community is kind of the slate of first parties. We'll kind of fold some of the live service conversation into this as well.
Cool.
But first party, where do you see the current landscape for PlayStation? They've had games cancelled, they've had games like Concord flop, they've had games like Marathon that are obviously having their own troubles with art assets, and then there's just been kind of a dearth of first parties for the most part. We finally get things like Ghost of Yotei, which I know for you is not really a Betson game for the most part, but
I'll play it,
but obviously it's a big high profile thing. We have rumors of 2D God of War games, but no actual proof in the pudding yet. in fact, rumors all the time. Hell, we even have Nate Fox come out the other day and talk about how he'd love to see Infamous get a remaster. He'd love to go back to it, but they're a one-team studio, and so that's not really something they can do.
Yeah. And on top of that as well, there was mention over the last week of Sony Santa Monica, what Corey's new game is, and I think the quote was along the lines of, what made you think it's a new IP?
Yeah, which came from Jason Schreier, so you're kind of inclined to take it to the bank.
Or at least, like there's a drop of truth to it, which is interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely a nugget of something to it. But like, there's so much rumor, there's so much innuendo. We're in this place where PlayStation doesn't talk to people like they once used to. Now, I think there's plenty of evidence on the other side of the fence with what's going on at Xbox that shows maybe if you talk too much, it's going to bite you in the ass, and so they're probably feeling pretty vindicated. But because of all this, we don't really know that much of what's going on. So how do you judge the landscape for PlayStation and their first parties at the moment?
For myself, I look at it in sort of two different spaces, right? Probably multiple. I'll just say multiple because I believe it might be more than two. But if you look at it from the console space themselves as a piece of hardware, then they are absolutely smashing it, and they have been for the longest time. Pretty much essentially since the release of the PS5, PlayStation have existed in this ratio of 2-to-1, then 3-to-1, and maybe 4-to-1 now. For every Xbox Series sold, there are 4 PS5s that have been purchased.
Yeah,
I think it's around there. So from that side of things, things are going fantastic, right? Console's doing great, games are coming to it from everywhere. So as the scope of console gaming is changing rapidly, PlayStation are in a very prominent position and a very strong position, with the only thing they would then need to tackle after this would be the handheld space, because that's the other market that they forgone a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they completely ceded it to Nintendo.
Yep, without stepping away from the Vita. But now they're seeing with the release of the Switch 2, as well as Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and all those various handheld PCs,
and even their own Portal.
And the Portal as well. Yeah, granted, the Portal doesn't have the same capabilities as, say, a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, etc., but it is an incredibly successful piece of kit. And I believe in the US, at least, they are selling them quicker than they can make them. Like, it is an equivalent amount, so there's very limited surplus. So from a console hardware side of things, they're doing fantastic, which is great. From as you mentioned, a larger narrative within the brand, it's interesting. There does seem to be a disruption in how they communicate. For the longest time, as you mentioned, they've been keeping pretty quiet, keeping their cards close to their chest, which does make it difficult to predict, to ponder, to consider where they are heading into the future. Because as you mentioned, as of right now, we don't know anything that is happening outside of Ghost of Yotei, which is in August or September from memory. So it's
October 2nd.
October, my apologies. Yeah, October. So it's in October. So we're a couple of months away. We just had that big state of play, but after that, who knows? Now, granted, we normally have a showcase around October, and in terms of their historical pattern, when that next big release is about to come, they drop a state of play like a week, 2 weeks before to go, hey, it's coming, but this is what's next. So I expect there to be some sort of likely a state of play, seeing showcases haven't really been a thing as of late, probably in October. So they are frequently releasing these state of plays, and the last couple have been okay, which is cool. But yeah, the communication from the company to the fan base, to the consumer base, has certainly changed. We've seen that reduction since shifting from Sean Layden and Shuhei Yoshida, Gio Corsi. They were the last big pushes of personalities in PlayStation.
Yeah.
So then your Jim Ryans, who was around, but not in the same way, same as Herman Holst, etc. I think the decision, as you mentioned, to keep those things quiet has been quite advantageous in a world where Microsoft don't seem to have a cohesive narrative within any of them. Like what Jim Ryan says compared to what what's the woman's name again?
Oh, sorry, you mean what Phil Spencer versus Matt Booty versus...
Matt Booty, yeah, versus...
Oh, no.
Yeah, her. Oh, I feel such an asshole. It'll come to me shortly. But yeah, her like there seems to be inconsistencies, and then on top of that, how Microsoft at large are
Sarah Bond.
Sarah Bond. Thank you. Yeah, compared to how Microsoft at large are communicating around Xbox and Microsoft gaming as a thing, PlayStation's decision to keep quiet has paid off in the long term, which I thought it may, but in the short term, it was really impactful and quite negatively, I feel, because it allowed people to speculate, to extrapolate, and then to sort of try read the tea leaves when you have nothing to work off. We were kind of left to red yarn on a board trying to pick all these things together. But as you mentioned, in terms of the games themselves, we talk about all these games that have failed, quote unquote, that have not succeeded or have been cancelled. Near every game that has been cancelled or stopped or in any capacity, all appear to be everything within the games as a service model.
Certainly, the stuff that's bubbled up public for sure.
Exactly. So we are yet to hear of anything like, oh, we've cancelled, Days Gone 2. My understanding is it just didn't. They
just never got greenlit in the first place.
They just went no. As things like that, right? So those that are extensions of their core studios, those core PlayStation first-party studios, they themselves seem to be pretty consistent. Like that hasn't been impacted. Because one of the things that was discussed around the beginnings of Jim Ryan talking about that games as a service initiative, he discussed a lot around the idea of like, this is a different bucket of money compared to our first parties. So those single player experiences you are used to getting, they are not being affected. And that appears to be the case.
Yep.
Predominantly. We've had studio closures with the likes of Deviation, Fire Sprite.
No, Fire Sprite is still fine.
Not Fire Sprite. Firewalk, my apologies. It's downside of having two studios with very similar names. Yeah, so they're probably the most immediate examples. But then you talk about the titles themselves, whether it be Concord, Fair Games is looking really quite sketchy out of Haven. The Last of Us Online was cancelled after they realized the actual developer impact it would have to run a games as a service like that. On top of that, there were the 16 total, and I do believe that those three may have been included in the numbers of the games as service titles that PlayStation were looking for, whether it be in first party or a second party capacity. Most of them, if not all of them, have been canned. I'm aware of one that was never announced that was canned. I did get some information around that through a mutual friend of ours. That was really cool. That was interesting to learn about.
I never actually heard about what the project was, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was cool. I don't remember all the project details, but yeah. So like that side, in terms of what I love PlayStation 4, which is the first party titles, everything is looking great. Right now, Death Stranding 2 just came out. Haven't finished it yet, but it's exceptional. It is, but without a doubt, one of the best games, if not the best game that we will see out of 2025. But whether visually, most definitely, unless we get something really blowing away by the end of the year.
Well, I mean, Ghost could rival it, but it'll be through a different lens, right? There's kind of a technical art versus an art.
Yeah, art style versus like actual.
It's technical versus artistic.
Yeah, technical efficiency, I guess. Yeah, technical versus artistic. I think you're absolutely correct. So that's looking very
Both
strong.
Both can be beautiful, but through different lenses.
Exactly. Where games as a service, I do fall in line very similar to that of people that we listen to, Sacred Symbols, with Colin Moriarty, around the idea that the games as a service initiative was not a bad decision. It is something they needed to do. It's the same way that I will always argue that PlayStation need to go and try make a first-person shooter. Doesn't have to be the most successful thing in the world, but sadly, in the world that we are currently operating in within the games industry, you have to have an absolute fucking banger, or you will not get any sort of approval. So in the same way that I'm happy that they fucked around with Concord, that they're fucking around with Fair Games, that they are trying to do these things. Marathon as well. Oh yeah, of course, Marathon, which delayed indefinitely at this point.
And a different beast because it's coming to Xbox as well. But like to get that first party, first person shooter in the household is still really important.
So with that game as a service, like the fact that they went and tried it is certainly positive. It's a shame that it hasn't come together, but I believe the execution of it, as the word you highlighted earlier, the execution of it was very subpar. Now, whether I do believe a lot of that was attempting to use resources that they currently have to try meet that shape, which they can't. And then everything since this, so let me rephrase that sentence. All of the challenges and missteps that PlayStation have faced have become at the hands of Microsoft and their decision to initiate the mergers and acquisition battle, essentially.
Yeah.
Prior to that, things were pretty tight. Things were pretty clear. And the second they felt the pressure to have to buy things, that's why they bought Bungie for an unreasonable amount of money, way more than they should have. And then on top of that, using Bungie to help forecast and structure this initiative. That's the biggest shortfall.
Yeah, I think as soon as they started getting their claws into other teams, and I guess the most high-profile one that we always hear about is Naughty Dog with the Last of Us Online game, which, Naughty Dog seemed to eventually come to the conclusion themselves that it wasn't what they wanted to do. I don't know how much of that would have been Bungie in the end, unless it was Bungie saying, look, you probably just need to realize how much of this is actually going to consume your team if you stick with this. And they might have gone, oh, shit, we don't like that. I don't think...
Well, Naughty Dog, I remember at one time... Oh, absolutely, yeah. They were running, when the last time they tried to do it, they were running was Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us, I think, or 3
Uncharted 3 and The Last of Us.
Thank you.
And then, but then you also had The Last of Us Part 2 and Uncharted 4 /
But like we're talking active development and pre-production again.
Well,
Lost Legacy.
Lost Legacy. I would argue Lost Legacy and Last of Us they were parallel.
Yeah, it's true. But
my understanding from people I've spoken to is there's a fair degree of parallel when it comes to 4 and The Last of Us as well. That obviously had key players like Neil Druckmann, for example, come off The Last of Us to go and help with Uncharted 4 after the whole Amy Hennig thing happened.
Oh, yeah,
but my understanding is that there was still work going on The Last of Us, and I guess it would be pre-production. It's not all hands on deck, but it was probably more than what you'd perhaps expect.
Yeah, we're not talking concept. I think there might be some initial build stuff. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember if you go and watch the Last of Us documentary, they talk about having to pull people from Last of Us to go lock down Lost Legacy.
Yep.
And then everyone came back over. So yeah, like that's kind of where I sit with it all. I'm certainly not doom and gloom on it. I would argue that the lack of an active and strong competitor like Microsoft used to be is going to be of danger to PlayStation at large, because we have seen, as much as I disagree with the discussion piece around arrogant PlayStation, I would absolutely agree that the loss of a direct competitor will give them a bit of additional confidence to continue to do the things the way that they are doing, which may or may not be of positive impact.
Yeah. So I guess part of my thoughts, and I think we didn't discuss this beforehand, but I think I've quickly pulled up a list of all the first parties from PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, we can go through them too.
We can kind of run through them as a part of
this
conversation.
Do you want to do your overall thoughts first? Because I just realized I talk about 10 minutes.
I figured I can kind of fold my thoughts in as we go through some of the different teams, because I think for the most part I kind of share the same sort of opinion as you. But when it comes to, and you kind of referenced arrogant Sony there at the end, you're also referencing the position that Xbox is kind of in. Arrogant PlayStation, we saw at the end of PS3 and obviously early to mid PS4. And that was when Xbox was on their knees. Or in the case of at least the earlier stages of that, PlayStation had shifted the momentum late through that PS3 thing, and then Xbox was on their knees with the way they botched the Xbox One.
Well,
and Xbox is on their knees again right now.
Oh, sorry, I was going to jump in and just talk about with the 360. Everyone talked about the 360 winning that generation, where we know towards the end of the PS3 generation, which really assisted in their development towards PS4, was that PS3 actually ended up selling more than 360.
Yeah. The optical thing is the 361, the numbers, because of the long term.
So you want to talk about them on their knees?
And also because of regions like Brazil, for example, where the consoles live a lot longer. Because of the nature of the economy there, meant that PlayStation was always going to, once it got close, PlayStation was always going to tip over the edge. But the optical thing, certainly when I guess the generation ended, Xbox One.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was, towards that end, probably the last 2 years, as the Uncharted's are really hitting full steam. You've got The Last of Us that's been announced. God of War 3 has happened. You're getting all of these big names starting to roll out, and you're getting more and more third-party deals also starting to come across. You started to see arrogant PlayStation rear its head, and that continued into the here's how you share your games on PS4, thanks, and all that sort of stuff. But I actually kind of want that to come back. I know there's kind of this, we don't like, and there's probably a bit of a tall poppy syndrome sort of mentality I feel like that's coming to it, but arrogant PlayStation didn't get all up on the high horse, be smartasses, and then fail to deliver. Arrogant PlayStation got it, and nor did they overshare either. They didn't do what Phil, not that Phil's coming from an arrogant place, because I feel like it's actually probably coming more from a place of desperation than anything else to try and get in this fight.
Absolutely.
But like, they sat down, they engaged, they had, they put, Shu would go out on a podcast, or Jack Tretton in the PS3 days would pop up here, or whoever it happened to be would get out there and they'd speak, and that was just accepted. But they wouldn't overshare. They never had, the PR team didn't have to scramble to fix up any big messes. They just got a chance to chat, and they'd engage with their community, and they'd share about the development process. They'd share about what the projects are and what's being worked on. And they'd never go too far. They were very smart about the way they did it. And I don't see any reason why they can't behave in the exact same way, be very open, but also be out there and go, bit of chest beating and say, well, we've got Ghost. We've just had Death Stranding. Wolverine is probably next. I mean, sorry, I put the word probably. They wouldn't speak in vague terms like that, but Wolverine is probably next year. I'm almost certain that Wolverine's next year. Like, we've got all of these things, and like, here's our roadmap. We don't have to get super specific, but we can just name drop these things along the way. And you can't get, and they don't even have to say, and you can't get those on Xbox, but we know you can't get those things on Xbox. And that just gets there's a bit of transparency. It gets the community up and about. It's not console war-y bullshit, but it's just giving people some level of insight, or saying, kind of saying, we haven't forgotten you. We haven't forgotten this. It's not all about the dollars and cents. We do, and we know it's not. They do respect their teams and the creative endeavors they're going on, but just being a bit more open shows everyone that they're still human. And they haven't been completely swept up in the
saying that though, I'm seeing this across the board, right? Not just within PlayStation, because I'm a firm believer. I love the concept of a business being human or being humanized, not in like a AI dismissive. What I mean by, as in, like, when you like, if you think about like Apple in its heyday, who you think? Steve Jobs. When you think of Virgin, who do you think of? Richard Branson. And like, for me, when I think about PlayStation, I think about, Shu, Jackie T, Sean Layden, Kaz Hirai. You know what I mean? Like, there are names that make the brand human. However, I would argue that as the way the customer base in large, whether it be just PlayStation, not solely just PlayStation, how people interact with brands now has drastically changed. So that system, in the same way that Microsoft, in one side of what they are doing, is very future thinking with Game Pass, their approach to having people front and center is very old school. And I do think we are seeing the impact of that old school way of doing it, where the internet never forgets, everything is noted, everything is recorded, and people are willing to be combative with brands and call them out on their shit.
And I would say, for the most part, we're not talking about Herman Holst, for example. We're not talking about Herman going out and talking to the people. We're not talking about a PSX style thing. We're talking about, chatting with YouTube creator X, someone that PR's gone through and they're happy with, going and talking to Skill Up, for example, or going to chat to Player 2 or whatever. People have been there, they've worked with these organizations, they're happy with them, they know that they can trust them. But we're not even getting that sort of dialogue.
But instead they go,
exactly. But instead they go to Wired, or they go and
more
it's
larger reputable sources.
And they're reputable things, but they don't really understand or work in the industry in the same capacity and don't speak to the people in the same way that the games publications do.
See, it's one of those things with game, I think with games journalism and games coverage changing drastically, in the same way that the way you and I cover games, and we have like both you and I have been doing this for a decade plus.
Yep.
When we started, it's different. It's super different now. And like the way we do it, we are still in that old school way. So when we see actions like them choosing to go to Wired or rather than going to IGN or GameSpot or Kotaku or whomever, like the reputation that those brands have, those outlets have, I should say, no longer exists. Like there is whether it be an extension of our political climate where the idea of trusting experts is gone for whatever reason, the idea that IGN is a trusted source for either an interview or a review or coverage no longer exists.
And look, it's not necessarily IGN. I think it's more just like, why are you going I'm using that as an example, right? Like, because they don't reach this community. It's almost like you're speaking to some people and then you're relying on the traditional games media to actually grab those quotes from one of the other outlets and bring it across. And like, well, what's the point? You could have gone direct and had a cleaner line to the people who are actually listening.
What I mean, where I was getting at with that thought, which is absolutely, as you said, like they will go to Wired instead, which will then get picked up by those games places anyway. So why talk to the people that you're already talking to when you can talk to other people? Pardon me. The information will get there eventually, and you have the potential to step outside your pond. Right now, they're big fish in small pond. How about we see if we can expand the pond?
Yeah, potentially.
Like that's the only way. I get the only reasoning I can get.
Because
now I'm not a C-suite anything, right?
No,
I'm a C-word, but I'm not a C-suite. You know what I mean? Like
a character.
So yeah. Oh, nice recovery. So these are things that way I look at it from my understanding. I've worked in corporate for a number of different places, but I'm certainly not good at it. I'm too fucking autistic in the other way to know how properly run a business. But for me, like that would make the most logical sense of why they would go there. Is it the right choice? It doesn't seem to be the bad choice.
Yeah, I don't.
But to go with your point, more transparency would be sick. Would be awesome.
Yeah, and they don't even need to be ultra transparent, but just be seen, be heard, speak. Because I think. Yeah, they've already got the win against Xbox. I'm not, in terms of the business sense, and I'm not trying to talk about the console fanboy bullshit.
Yeah.
They've already got the win against Xbox. They are now starting to turn their sights towards Nintendo, and probably even, well, not Steam. They're looking to kind of embrace Steam to get their stuff out there, but they're turning their sights towards Nintendo slowly, and I think like Nintendo still does a pretty good job of speaking. Hell, even a tweet that comes from the official Nintendo account that says, "This is Miyamoto," and then he talks about the Zelda movie and who's just been cast in it. People lose their minds, and that's nothing. That is like, that is the stuff that PlayStation, like any equivalent-ish sort of news, they just put in a blog post or they put in a press release and it just goes out. You can kind of put a name to that. It can be, and I know like we're in this weird spot where all those names that we've mentioned are gone pretty much.
Yep.
There's not many of them left, and they've been kind of shelved when it comes to speaking stuff. We see some names start to pop up. Greg Rice has done a little bit while he was working with Shu. We see Sean Benson through the
almost a good name, sir. Almost a good name. You're this close to Betson. This close.
But
is that woman that pops up all the time whose name escapes me?
No, that is Sean Benson.
It is Sean Benson. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that was the girl. But then when I was like, oh, cool, maybe it's somebody else. My bad. My apologies for assuming your gender by your name.
But it's just, like they just don't. They will undoubtedly have the people there. Hell, you could get like Herman used to speak regularly. I think about when he was kind of the head of Guerrilla. He would come out and he'd speak all the time about what he was doing, what the team was doing, what their goals were, and people would really liked him and respected him. And since he's gotten into the role that he has, and he's had to kind of lock things down based on PR, I think more than anything else, that he's kind of even lost that. And so now suddenly people are questioning him and losing respect for him, and he's not able to get out there and respond or clarify or do anything.
On top of that, the optic,
and maybe the favoritism for Guerrilla is a perception there too, that he can't shoot down because he's not in a position to.
on top of that, like we're approaching this in like the really hardcore way, right? The average consumer who they don't care about us. I mean that in the larger way, right? They don't care about us because we're gonna buy it, we're gonna play it, we're gonna talk about it anyway. So I think to go back to that thought about why they're going that route is because they know, like, they have the ability to talk to everyone, and they're like, well, let's talk to everyone instead.
Yeah, and I get your other point about kind of catching the other audience.
Exactly, right? Because we're going to read it anyway. Like, so, for us, like, we give a shit about, like, the fact that Herman Holston, Hiroki Totoki were co-CEOs and now they're not. No one cares but us.
Well, no one cares but us. But I think in terms of, like, passing the message about product.
But what I mean by that is, like...
And even getting a console in the first place. Like, we, as in, like, the hardcore group, are still the tastemakers at the end of the day. Like you've got your Fortnites and those sort of things.
Yeah, I would disagree.
They still started with that group. Space. They still start, like, those games first pop up because the hardcore gets onto them. Fortnite is absolutely one of those. The hardcore gets onto them, then their teeny bopper friends start playing, and then all of a sudden you've got a 6-year-old that's playing Fortnite that absolutely shouldn't be. But it's like, and it happens. It starts at the core group because they're the ones that will make the noise. You start to see the tweets, you start to see the Instagram posts, you start to see the marketing push. The messages getting regurgitated through the fans, and then their family members ask questions, or what they start talking to their work colleagues. What have you been doing on the weekend? Oh, I was playing this great game, and to the more casual consumer or whatever, and they hear about this thing, and then all of a sudden they're playing. It always takes weeks. It's waves of this stuff coming out, and if you're able to get your message still to the hardcore and get them amped up about whatever your thing is, you're halfway there. It's why the PS3 fixed its problem. It's why the PS4 then exploded, and right now and we hear this mentioned on Colin's show all the time, the inertia and all those sort of things, but like the wave of momentum they've got going absolutely stems from all of that, but it's and because the competition is fumbling it colossally. But they could go... If they want to chase Nintendo, I think they need to embrace the communicative part again.
So to expand on that, once again, clearly I'm hooking onto the wrong part of your conversation, because I'm thinking about, as in to have that face, right? Who would be that face, or that person, or who would be that representative? I understand what you mean by the transparency of just be more talkative as a brand, as a collective brand, but I think we as a consumer, as I said, the royal we. No one trusts brands. No one trusts corporate. So unless there's a face to said name, I think that transparency means nothing. However, I would also argue that the personalities, quote unquote, that exist within PlayStation right now are neither charismatic enough or interesting enough in a outward interest. Like, no offense to any of the names we've like, Shuhei is a lovable. No one can fucking hate Shuhei Yoshida.
Yeah.
Like,
he's endearing.
Once again, Gio Corsi comes out in his Kevin Smith fucking hockey jerseys, his love for the Vita, right? Like,
pulls out the Vita when he's specifically told not to.
Correct. And then even Sean Layden, even the way he awkwardly stands, but he's always had, like, he would have a shirt that would pop us. There's all these little things that made these people endearing. They're attractive to us as consumers. Where I think if you were to get Herman Holst, like, I'm not saying he's an uninteresting person, but he is neither as charismatic as he should be. Now, granted, the only person I think is currently in the space that I find really endearing is Mark Cerny. Granted, because I would like him to read me almost anything.
But I would argue he's not the sort that's going to get your masses.
Oh, he is not that person at all.
He's good for ASMR.
The only person that would be of that external use, but he's not the guy.
Yeah. So you're right that I think we don't know who these people are on the corporate, at that corporate level.
Yeah.
But I think you could start, and I think back to the PS3. Now, obviously, Jack Tretton was the head of it, and he certainly got up there and spoke, and he did a pretty good job for the role that he was in. But he was very much the game person, and obviously we didn't really have that with Nishino these days, or old mate Jim beforehand. We've kind of had this void of that sort of person at the very top level, but it doesn't have to be them. I think it could be like you can get your Corey Barlogs getting out there. Like you've got those people within the studios that can do it. I think about Nate Fox and how he used to get out all the time for Sucker Punch. You'd have obviously
I don't think Neil could do it at the moment, but Corey. I think
Neil
Corey
could get
would
out
be
when it's applicable. Neil could get out when it's applicable, but also you can send out. There's plenty of others that you can send out.
I love Neil personally. I think he's fantastic. I think he's really.
I know he's in a really tricky spot. But when he can get out there and he just gets to talk about his game.
Yeah.
I don't think like he will be the one at the face of Intergalactic when the time comes.
Oh, of course, Intergalactic's around the corner. I forgot to list that one earlier.
But well, I mean, could be still 2 years. I don't know. But like he'll be at the coalface of that when it comes out. We'll see and hear plenty of him. But they can also get some others out there for that as well. And then I think about
what about like getting some consumers in there? What about some like really nice Australian faces? You know, like we can come in, represent the fan base, represent the. Oh yeah, it's possibly an option, Paul. I didn't want to specify any particular names, but you know, it's certainly not a bad idea. Well, it's not a good idea either. But
no, I think it'd be a fantastic idea. We do it with a smile on our face and a fuck you to anyone who pisses off midway through a live stream, and that'll go down really well. That's going to win people over.
Yeah, it would immediately impact us from doing a podcast like this. But it'd be fun.
I'll take the big bucks from them and drop the podcast in a heartbeat. Sorry.
Well, a number of times we have spoken about like the games and the places and the people. I like your idea of that's going through that list. Let's do like a health check of the studios where they sit.
So I've gone to Push Square. They published something on the 12th of June, so it's fairly up to date. They've got it all sorted: Japan, Europe, and then North America.
Yep.
So and in that order, so we'll just start at Japan and work our way down. First team off the list is Polyphony, which I think is one of the easier ones to speak to. Gran Turismo is
whatever the next Gran Turismo is.
7 will just continue to do its thing for the rest of this generation, I think.
Yeah, it'll be a PS6 thing. I don't think we'll see another Gran Turismo until Now, fully understanding that life cycles of consoles has continued to grow, especially since PS4, but with their rumors and ongoing discussions around, was it 2020, was it 7 or 8 that they were like, oh, this is when we're dropping a PS6.
Oh yeah.
So like that does impact a number of things. And yeah, with Polyphony, granted, now, which we haven't discussed this too hard yet, but with a lot more Xbox titles coming to PlayStation, and we see the likes of Forza Horizon selling 2 million units, equivalent to that of Astro, but 3 million now. Holy shit!
The three number was what was equivalent to Astro. Astro had sold like 2.8, and Horizon had sold like 2.8 as well.
So they best check themselves and be either more frequent. Okay, that's the answer. More frequent, because they deliver. Like GT delivers. It's just too infrequent.
I could be okay with the idea that they've got one game a gen now, as long as it's early. Like
I think one game a gen is very common at large.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, for a bunch of other studios, you're right, and it's more problematic than I think it is for a prestige racing game. I would say dropping your one for the gen. Maybe it's 2 years in. And then that game can live on for 4 to 5 through updates and online and whatever activations you have set up around it. So I feel like, you know, if hypothetically your PS6 was 2027, then 2029 is GT time.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And then on top of that, with the introduction of Forza Horizon to the PlayStation fan base, the need for a high quality arcade racer,
non-existent.
Like they don't need to make GT Sport again.
Unless they went down the MotorStorm path, and I'm not saying necessarily that the Polyphony does this, but like if PlayStation were to go down the MotorStorm style, which is totally different again to the arcade of Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
That could be something could work, but again, that's not a Polyphony thing. So next team is Asobi, who've obviously recently just put out Astrobot DLC. Astrobot the game was the Game of the Year winner last year. This team is obviously priding themselves on on small, sustainable teams and relatively timely turnarounds. So I feel like we could see them again before the generation is out, potentially, or right there at the tip of the spear for the next one. Probably more likely the latter. But also, this is a team with a ceiling to grow. So I wonder if we don't get to a point, and this is something I'm going to hone in on as we start to probably get to some of the American teams. I wonder if this is the sort of scenario where you can have, and this is, I mean, Asobi is basically Japan studio.
Mm. In every way but name, essentially. Yeah.
I wonder if this is not the success of Astrobot at the size that it was, that this is not the beginning of Japan studio Take Two, where they've got that, they're building towards maybe an Astro or whatever it is that launches at the beginning of PS6, but you've got Team 2 that's already working on something else and has been maybe like we're getting multiple teams of, how big was Astrobot again? They're like 60 people. It was a small team relative to everything
it wasn't massive, but I wouldn't know the numbers off my head.
And you might have another 50, 60 people or whatever that number is, a similar sort of size, which then makes it pretty affordable, easily managed in a cheap environment compared to, I don't mean to call Japan cheap, but like a cheaper environment to develop games in relative to America and Europe.
It's a cheaper environment,
I wonder if like that's not the opportunity. Okay, we've got this team, they're set. All right, now let's start building up this next one.
If it were me,
and they can work independently.
If it were me and I had the choice of what to do with Asobi, the answer is a sequel to Astrobot in some capacity. I would back end it, the PS5 generation with it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it wouldn't have the cachet, like playing Astrobot on PS5, like you're flying a PS5, you're collecting all the PS5 fun. It was a really good tech demo for what the PS5 is. Now, granted, if they want to continue down that path, then you are correct. Having it as one of the big opener for the PS6, absolutely. But part of me looks at Astrobot as a celebration of PlayStation. And I would imagine that having a sequel at the end of the PS5 generation, it'd be like in the same way that like Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima were the closes for the PS4. They can then close and go, hey, let's look back at everything we've done. And let's truly celebrate in deeper where we are at this moment. And then at the end of that game, whether they announce it in advance, I imagine they would, but in my little perfect world, you finish the Astrobot, and the final thing, that's where they reveal the PS6. Would never happen.
Would never happen. Won't be the way they do it, but it's nice.
But once again,
goes back to our hardcore fan. Yeah.
Exactly. They may announce the console originally, integrate it into Astrobot 2, for lack of a better name. But that's where I would put it. I love your idea, though, around Asobi essentially becoming a bigger studio in Japan and having some of those cool, unique games. Because Astrobot is exactly that. Like, it is so... what's the word I'm looking for? I guess discordant. I don't think that's the right term. But it's so diametrically opposed to what PlayStation's bread and butter have been for the longest time. Outside, like, Sackboy, right? But Sackboy... Astrobot is what Sackboy wish they could be.
Yeah.
It is a ambiguous...
nondescript character.
General nondescript character that they can throw a bunch of hats on and everyone goes, "Oh." So there's great potential in there.
But also it was a game and at its core and not a set of creation tools, which allowed it to really stick more.
Yeah. So they had to have a much clearer vision because it's not relying on people making shit.
60 people worked on Astrobot, just to be clear.
That's tiny as. That's rad.
So like it is not in Japan where things are cheap game development wise compared to the US. Getting another 60 people together, the right 60 people of course, but another 60 people together to work on another IP. Now that could be a new one, that could be, let's dive into the catalog here, we've got plenty of old Japan studio games that we could revive, or doesn't even have to be Japan studio ones, but whatever it happens to be, like I don't think it's that hard to do it.
No.
And they've proven that they've got the chops. And Astrobot is a big game. Like the quality, the size of it, like the actual amount of content, like it's a big game. There's a lot in there.
Yeah. And it's their focus and desire to continue to support it says a lot about who they are and also what PlayStation see in them.
Yeah. So I think there's opportunity in that to build out that team, like create a team 2. You've got the right culture in place already. You've got the right systems in place. You're probably again targeting smaller scoped games, not AA, but just smaller in scope, more traditional, more what we've loved for years, the 10 to 12 hour long game rather than the 20, 30 plus long beast. I reckon they could do a lot in that realm.
I agree.
And cheaply. So now we move on to Europe. And you mentioned Fire Sprite before. They're next. Which is a hard one to kind of speak about because they don't have much of an identity for the most part yet.
Well, yeah, so Fire Sprite, what they've sort of been known for as of late is their involvement in Horizon Call of the Mountain. That's kind of their last thing of note. And with PlayStation ostensibly just disregarding PSVR at this point. Hang on, who was working on that like London-based RPG? Was that Fire Sprite? That was Studio London.
A VR game?
No. It was just I think it was Studio London before they got closed.
Oh yeah, London Studio was working on that. Yeah. It was very neon. There was like a screenshot that got put out for it.
Yeah, there was like the Big Ben being like covered in shit, and
that was
all
London
fantasy.
Studio, and then obviously they've been shut down. So
yeah, so with Fire Sprite, no idea. But I believe there was a job description went up recently.
Currently codenamed Project Heartbreak. Which the theory is, and it's only a theory, nothing more to it. The theory is that it's Until Dawn 2.
Yeah. Which you and I were discussing literally the Until Dawn movie before we started recording. Be like, we probably should watch that.
Yeah.
And you know,
sure. I could deal with it Until Dawn 2. That'd be fine.
I wouldn't be against it. Once again, it's offering something different to what we usually experience as part of PlayStation's lineup.
Yeah. The only challenge with that is like now that we've moved away from Japan, the cost of development for all of these other teams is so much higher. So what if you're PlayStation, you can go, is an Until Dawn 2 with even if we get this scoped right, still, minimum 3 to 4 years probably. Let's assume there's no hitches on the road. It's nice, smooth sailing. We're still talking 3 to 4 years. This is not the PS2 days where you can PS3 days where you can churn out Uncharted 2 and then Uncharted 3 in 2 consecutive years and win Game of the Year.
PS2 is also a right comparison. Well, like the frequency at which they pumped out the GTA games, like holy shit.
Yeah, but the PS, I guess, is a closer, more recent one. It's the good old days. 2 days, 2 years, and they were churning out Game of the Year winners back to back. We're not in that era, so 3 to 4 is kind of the number. It's going to cost you still minimum probably $100 million. What game are we going to produce that is going to at least get us that money back? And then some, because we are a profits business. And is Until Dawn going to be that game?
No, but if they keep that budget in check, though, if they keep it relatively low and they don't go super gnarly with it, then it could absolutely make its money back. Or at least break even in some capacity. But if it comes out and we found out they've spent $200 million on Until Dawn 2,
that's a problem.
My belief in their, it's only the games as a service that fucked them, would be immediately wrong.
Yeah. 265 people at last head count. So that's a lot more money. That's a lot more money just to keep them afloat, let alone. But anyway, next up is a team that we can definitely talk more authoritatively to. Guerrilla Games, Herman's old team. Bit of nepotism.
Yeah. Well, the answer is Horizon 3. If they're not working on Horizon 3, they're fucking up. Mostly because they seem to utterly adore Horizon, which I believe to be a fair decision.
Yep.
I love Horizon. I enjoyed Zero Dawn. Forbidden West was staggeringly better. I do think I always love talking about game engines because it's immediately I use it as the barometer for places that think they can talk about games. Like, oh, it's on this engine, but I say that and I'm about to talk about fucking Decima. What we can see in Death Stranding 2 actively demonstrates the potential of Decima as an incredible base to build your game off of. Now, understandably, Death Stranding 2 is not as intense from a game systems place.
It's not as active a world, right?
Exactly. That was way better than however I was going to explain it. Yes, it is. It is a much less inactive world compared to Horizon, so they can have these massive vistas. Everything looks incredible. It looks remarkable. Like if anyone that has seen the trailers for Death Stranding, like when you walk into there and you see like those big spin wheels and it's just
that
particle
screenshot,
effects
holy
everywhere.
shit! I've only seen the screenshots. I haven't actually seen video of that scene with the windmills and stuff.
It is by far.
But it looks unreal just in the screenshot.
I spent so much time just running around that trying to break it. I was got up in it from a distance. Like, can I chug this frame rate? The answer is no. So whether this be a new version or a modified or an altered version of this engine, it does have me in a very high place of excitement for what I would like to be Horizon 3. Horizon 2 ends on a pretty sweet cliffhanger. It is really batshit weird, which I always love. There is a great ceiling, as you mentioned earlier, for Guerrilla to grow and to demonstrate themselves as the technical powerhouse of PlayStation Studios. In the same way that Insomniac are the powerhouses for frequency, and Naughty Dog are the pillar for
quality, quote unquote,
overall like quality and storytelling. Yeah. Like they have their different uses, and I think very quickly Guerrilla will be hey, this is technical prowess in terms of the engine that they are building. Where granted, Naughty Dog have that too; they certainly have that crown. But what we think about Naughty Dog 4 is storytelling and emotion and connection, and it's a very different focus, even though they are technically astounding.
So Horizon 3 is obviously the big one. But what about the online thing? What about the online stuff?
Is it NC Soft?
There's the NC Soft thing, which was Project... No.
Something.
Can't remember. The Skyline?
Yeah, Skyline. Yeah, Project Skyline. Yeah, it's absolutely what it's called.
There's that. There's the...
Like, we've both seen the alpha footage of that. It looks sick.
Yep. There's the rumors, obviously, that there was kind of the Monster Hunter-y style thing as well.
Sweet. In the same way that
I've never really enjoyed...
I've never really enjoyed an MMO, but I love the Elder Scrolls Online because I don't have to think about the lore when I go into that game, because I've played enough Elder Scrolls games to get it. If they ever do make because I tried Monster Hunter Worlds or Monster Hunter Wilds or whichever, and I was like, I just can't care about the Kobayashi or whatever the fuck it's called. That's actually a wrestler. I don't know what it's actually called. Where if they were like, here's a Monster Hunter style game, but it's Horizon, I'm like, sweet, give me a Thunderjaw, give me a fucking Tremortusk. You know what I mean? Like, I know them. I don't have to think hard about who they are or what they do or how they fit in the world.
And you already know their weaknesses, and I'll break the shit out of these things.
Oh, I'm gonna exploit it immediately.
Yep.
But yeah, so outside of Horizon 3,
they could do more with those people.
They absolutely could. But if they...
And I'm sure, to your point about like Decima, I'm sure there's a lot of those people that are also like the tech experts. It's about
they're just proprietary engine
it's not
folk.
Maybe you shave 50 off that though, but 300 people, I still think we could be not necessarily getting games out fast, but we could have multiple projects on the go.
Yeah, but at the same time, because spoilers for anyone who's been watching this for an hour and a half and being like, these guys don't know anything, and that's true, we don't. So we are purely speculative about these things, about whether, like, for all we know, Guerrilla may have two projects going on.
Well, I just think this is I think, like, and I guess now me kind of
or at least in a consulting capacity for this NC Soft game.
This is very much a path that I would like to see PlayStation go down. Forget this buying studios thing, and admittedly, all the M&A stuff across the board has kind of really quietened down, especially since Xbox started shitting the bed. But I would like to see the teams expand. I know Naughty Dog, and we're still a little ways away from talking about them, but obviously they were pretty clear about the challenges that they faced when they were doing the 2-team structure for Uncharted 3 and The Last of Us, and a little less so when it came to Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy in The Last of Us, but that was kind of a thing there as well. It's because they were trying to have essentially 1.5 teams and phase people in and out where required. I just think it's like you've got enough leaders within a lot of these teams. I think about Santa Monica, and you've got, and actually I guess they're probably the best example of it, because we've clearly got
Corey. Eric
Ragnarok,
Williams?
and then you've got Eric Williams with Ragnarok, and then you've got Corey Barlog working on whatever this thing is. I think we can have they've all got the leaders within these teams. Guerrilla undoubtedly has them. Naughty Dog has them. Insomniac has them. Insomniac's been doing multiple teams for years. Santa Monica has them, and I'm sure within Sucker Punch, and I know Nate has just come out in the last few days and said we're one team.
One project team.
But they've got Nate and they've got Jason Connell in the same interview saying this. I'm like, no, there you are. You're right there. You just need to get the talent now around you and scope accordingly. And there you go. Like you've got, and you don't have to go and build a Haven, which may or may not work. You don't have to go and spend billions on Bungie, which may or may not work, which, to be fair, they would have thought was a surefire thing at the time.
I mean,
and then all the finances
many questions around Bungie, right?
Oh,
and
the,
like most,
the deceit on there.
Actually, are they on the list?
They're not technically because they're not.
We'll add it at the
end,
because I would like to talk about Bungie.
Yeah, definitely they're part of it. But I think this is a thing that they need to do more of.
I would agree with you. Only
not every team.
Taking into account the immediate concern of, as you mentioned, like unless they have a definitive wall within the studio that says this is this team, this is that team. What will happen is exactly what happened with The Last of Us. You know, they'll be like, oh, we really need everyone over here. So unless they have firm lines in the sand that goes, you are this team, you are this team, that multi-project within the same studio will forever be an ideal, but in execution it will always be a challenge, because we are talking about a creative field with creative people. And you know, you're a creative yourself, Paj, as am I, just in different, we're both into very different ways compared to say game devs. But for many people in creative fields, the project's never done, it's just released.
Yep.
So when you like, well,
PlayStation does that better than anyone these days with the way they update. Think about The Last of Us, and you know, obviously just the recent chronic what they call it? The chronological version of Last of Us Part 2 or Astrobot, and what's like they just keep feeding their games post launch.
Yeah,
God of War Ragnarok, they're huge in this regard.
But what I mean by that is, if they can't close it off, like they would then just go, well, we just doubled our team, so that means we have double the resources for this game to get it done in time. Like, then you're not hitting.
Yeah, no, you're not doing it right then.
Yeah,
no,
and once again, it's in development time is like when they get given any option to tweak and alter and change, like, oh, we could just get the team over here to do that, and the next thing you know, development increases because you have the manpower to make something incredible, and expectations are through the roof consistently.
So this is where I think, the Naughty Dog model from back in the day, where it was 1.5 teams, that causes those problems. If you are a 2-team structure, but then all of a sudden we don't want to crunch, but it's crunch time. The critical time here, and we need to pull resources. It's no big deal, because this team has still been plodding away. It's a month, whatever. We get them on there. We're probably also getting hands from XDev. We're probably getting a whole bunch of other resources coming on board as well. But it's a short-term thing, and they've been able to commit themselves wholly to this other product that's been running in parallel for 2 years already, and has maybe got 2 years to go, and it's not a big impact. You can still do that. You can pull the resources when you want if it's a full team, as opposed to if it's 1.5, and then you take 50 to 100 of those people away. You've got no one left. That project even if you would have back burner completely.
Even if you have 2 teams in a group of SMEs, like subject matter experts, right? There's a group of floaters, and like they go where they needed.
Yeah,
so right now we need you over on project 1. Okay, project 1's wrapping up. Head back to 2, or vice versa. Like you come in for pre, but when we need to really get in that end game stuff, you're coming back over, sort of thing.
This is like your concept artists. Like, what are they doing most of the time? Once you've got that core part of the project.
I do always wonder that, but never want to say it. Because how much concept do you need throughout?
Well, that's the thing. Like, you've got your concepts. Everything's in place. And sorry, this is not me, just to be clear for anyone watching and listening. This is not me trying to diminish the work of concept artists. You're actually fantastic and hugely important.
But
once you've got your concept in place and your art is there, and okay, now they're building on top of those foundations, what do you have left to do outside of every now and then consult and go, yeah, no, that's it, or no, I didn't quite envisage it that way, let's do this. But eventually those things are in place, the designs are in place, and now we're just modeling and rendering and eventually inserting into the environment, and the job's done. But they can be then shifting. They are those floaters you're talking about. Where, okay, go to team 2, which is 2 years behind in the development pipeline. And again, this is the ideal world, and there's no delays, and there's no problems, that sort of thing. But they're 2 years behind. They need you at your absolute best right now. Go do your work there, and then eventually, when you about the time you're done with them, Team 1's going to need you again.
Yeah, just to go alongside what you mentioned, we're not dismissing concept artists, because the idea of even through active development, if the idea is like, oh, I wonder what we think we want to add this in, and that's when the concept team come back and go, hey, here's this. They go, oh, cool, okay, cool. So it's not like they're not solely initial, but
it is an ongoing job.
The majority of their role is initial, is what we're getting at.
Yeah. So you can
now, granted, you would know this better than anybody else with Dev Diary, etc. But
yeah, actually, I kind of feel like I do, having spoken to a lot of people in this sort of capacity over the years. But they're them engineers. Like there's points of where they're needed a lot, and then there's points where their need is not so great. But you can keep them relevant at all times if you have the 2-team structure in place. So my thoughts there. Next team is Housemarque, which definitely isn't going to be a 2-team town.
No, because they've got Soros coming out.
Saros, and that's it.
That's probably late 26, but more likely 27.
Oh no, see, I'm certain that's next year.
Oh look, I'd
remember we're still meant to be getting the gameplay deep dive this year.
Look, I'd love to get really mad at another Housemarque game like soon, but yeah,
that game was Returnal was 2021.
Yeah, true.
I reckon next year's the year.
But like, you know, they're once again talking about the development, right? Like we know there were some modes, there was some not DLC. Pardon me, not DLC, but like they did that tower battle, not syphilis, was it Sisyphus?
Sisyphus, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go with syphilis.
Like they bought that. They didn't bring in a mode of syphilis. That'd be a choice. But yeah, there was some work post release. Now, granted, that wouldn't have taken the whole team, as you know, as you would assume. Once again, looking at that pipeline, and we as you said, you know, we've got Yote, Wolverine potentially, Intergalactic. I think Intergalactic's further along. I'd agree with that.
I'm saying 27. Yeah.
But actually, you know what? I like your thinking. I am more than happy to agree with you. October of next year. When Returnal come? The Returnal came out at the beginning of the year, didn't it?
Yeah, and I'm going to say, I was going to say this for a conversation at the end, but we'll do it now. Saros early first half next year, and Wolverine second half of next year, which becomes your October-November holiday game.
Yeah, because I was about to say, oh yeah, Saros in October, but then as I was saying, I'm like, I don't think that's a strong enough game for a holiday season, but Wolverine is. And
not to mention, you've also got your Marvel Tokon.
Oh yeah,
like that's probably
but that's second party. That's not like
it's second party, but like it's.
But they're using
second party as first party these days. Yes, like it's all weird and bullshit. But
see, once again, our old school understanding is crumbling as the industry changes around us.
But we'll just keep pushing on regardless. So yeah, Housemarque I think is pretty clear cut. I don't think there's much concern there. Here's an interesting one. Before we get to North America, Media Molecule. Just how fucked are they at the moment? Like,
Media Molecule, they are lucky. They are lucky that they have some of the accolades. Yeah, absolutely. Without that BAFTA, without the appreciation from the larger artistic space, I think they'd be in a much worse position. Because PlayStation, as much as they love being a business, because they're a business, they do also often like the concept that they are seen as this echelon of creation. They see it with Last of Us. They see, you know, like they see themselves as this next tier. Like in a lot of ways, PlayStation, absolutely, they are the HBO, which coincidentally that's obviously where Last of Us went. But they consider themselves the boutique, that high end, that super, you know, that they are that space. And you know, we see that with the likes of Naughty Dog and their desire for those creative endeavors. Yeah, whatever it is, I hope it's a game. But it's interesting because Dreams, could have been something.
Absolutely, the foundation's there, but
even before that, like Tearaway was cool, but it was gimmick to the Vita, and that's fine because you need a gimmick game at that time. Was it Tearaway? They did Tearaway, right?
Tearaway was the Vita one, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I was making sure it was Media Molecule for a second. As I said it, I went, hang on a minute.
No, you're on the money.
But then prior to that, it was Little Big Planet, which should have had a bigger impact than it did.
I think it did. Like at the time, I think it did.
I'm sorry, I mean in terms of longevity, right? They really wanted it to be the Mario of PlayStation, which I think Astro Bot will be now.
Well, I think that kind of
fell
away because they wanted to go like we're done with this. We want to go do Dreams.
Yeah.
And that was what killed Little Big Planet.
Yeah, I also think farming it off to Sumo didn't help either.
Little Big Planet 3 was good. But
no, they did a good job. But I mean, in terms of as perception, this is our big pillar mascot. The team that created it aren't doing it. It's like every Crash Bandicoot since Naughty Dog has sucked cheeks.
Yeah. Except for Crash 4.
Yeah, it was fun.
But it took you decades to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think look, the BAFTA and all that helps carry them a lot, but I do think if the next game, whatever that is, doesn't light it up, I don't think a BAFTA is going to save you. Siobhan might stay within the family. It might be like old mate that left. Blundell, and starts another team within PlayStation.
Got kicked out of
we'll keep
Deviation. He left Deviation. Deviation closed, and they got Blundell back, which means they clearly like Blundell.
Yeah, but sorry, Media Molecule, we can't persist with this anymore.
Yeah,
that's
actually Blundell has like the Call of Duty heritage, etc. So he's of larger interest of actual like dollars and cents. Where Siobhan Reddy is a surname. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to my
ex-Dev Diary guest. Love her. Great.
Yeah, it's like to have her. That's really great in particular markets, and it's a great stat to have on a sheet. And I think that's like, especially,
let's keep that within the family. But do we need to keep the studio in the family? Not necessarily.
Yeah, like who's to say they can't take Siobhan elsewhere? As you said, where would she go? Couldn't tell.
Build a new team.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Just call Siobhan Ready and Friends, or Siobhan is Ready, and then that's it. That's the name of the studio.
There it is. But yeah, I think whatever it is, and I think it needs to go back to So Dreams, I think, failed because it flipped the script to Little Big Planet. It was creation tools, and then we'll build a game inside of it for you, as opposed to Little Big Planet, which is we've built ourselves a cool game here. Now we'll make the tools that made this work available to you, so you can create your own Little Big Planet. So I think if they go to that model again, which is, and that's if they don't just go and make a traditional ass video game like a Tearaway, which had none of that. But
I think they clearly are individuals that are motivated by that creative endeavor, like that creative feeling.
But also, they're still a business, and the harsh reality probably has to kick in after Tearaway. So, and now 6 years of silence since then. So my thinking on that one is that I do think it probably if it's not a standalone, just a game-ass game and nothing more, like a Tearaway, then it needs to be a Little Big Planet model and not a Dreams model. It needs to be game, and then here's the tools that helped us make this so that you can make your own thing. Because Dreams just didn't have enough of the thing to actually... People were going, well, what is it? Oh, they're tools. Like, to make what? Where's the proof in the pudding? Where's the evidence of what this game can do? Straight away. And I know they had those things, and they added more of them along the way, which was cool, like Tren and all those sort of things. But there was nothing, like, people didn't look at Dreams and go, here's the amazing thing that we built in it. It was like, here's the amazing tools that we can build stuff.
Here's the amazing copyright infringement that I've made.
Well, there's that, but pre-release, it's like, well, but where's the proof in the pudding here? You've shown me some amazing tools. I get that they're really versatile and can do a lot, but where's the evidence of it? Like, where's a game that works straight away, and then I can go do that? Right. I
still think there's an appetite for games like that. We look at Fortnite and their creative suite, which has become available. Roblox, which is entirely built on a creative suite. The difference there is saturation. They are everywhere, and I don't believe PlayStation would distribute whatever Media Molecule's next thing is if it's within that same creative space. I don't see them proliferating it like.
Well, apparently they very nearly very nearly in the end did Dreams for PC, but just cut the cord on it. So
yeah,
and that would that probably would have saved that game.
I think so. Yeah, and those decisions are part of that problem. Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you have a game-ass game at its core, and then here's the tools we use to make this, then that's your model for this sort of product. All right, moving on to North America. Ooh,
Big
Bend.
boys. Go. I think Bend have been so poorly mishandled, and it really saddens me.
Yeah.
Look, if you look behind me on my shelf, there's my Days Gone collectors with my awesome little media book we got.
Yeah, mine's
yours is back there somewhere. Like I really enjoyed Days Gone, and what I loved about it, for better or worse, is it's a game that the more as you play it, you can see the team learning to as they go. Like, knowing the last thing that they made was it Logan Shadow on PS2 or something. So
no, I mean
it was PS2 or PSP. There was some old fucking Siphon Filter game.
You mean it was like their own IP?
Correct, yeah.
Oh, right, because I was going to say there's Resistance and Uncharted along the way, but okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, exclusively that was their own thing, right? So, like, you could see that they were using Days Gone as a way to teach themselves ostensibly PlayStation, like, what would become PS4 and then into PS5.
Yeah.
I think the behaviors of the former leaders in that space has also heavily impacted that studio. Even though it was the studio that they created, for them to behave the way they did has certainly damaged it, and which is why I think Sony Bend were put on very interesting projects as part of this games as a service.
Yeah,
I would hope that there would be a Days Gone 2, but that's not going to happen without the creative figureheads.
I mean,
I don't see them returning to Siphon Filter. It'd be cool. Like, if they were to soft reboot Siphon Filter, I think that would be dope. But that's not going to happen. So, I apparently Bend have been entrusted on. Might be misremembering, but I think there was whether what they're currently working on, or what they were working on was a multiplayer focus. I can't.
Yeah, there was meant to be a live service thing, and that.
I think that was the games as service thing. So what they're working on now, I don't know, but very similar to Media Molecule, they may be a bit fucked. Except the difference here is, if they don't deliver on this next one, it is not their fault, comparatively to Media Molecule.
Yeah, I honestly, if you're PlayStation right now, and I know they like.
Also, I just noticed you on your phone. Are you getting messages from the wife?
No, that's right. No, it was a footy related thing. So no, we've got plenty of time.
Oh, sweet. Let's rip it up then. Let's keep going.
So, when it comes to that, I think to fix Bend right now, you're not going to be able to. And geez, there's going to be some bullshit about it if it was to happen. John Garvin, Jeff Ross, they'll lose their minds.
Yeah.
But the right thing to do for this studio is to get Days Gone 2 going.
Yep.
And I mean for the studio. Forget the audience. The audience is going to be stoked because holy shit, Days Gone, like, sure, it didn't get the commercial thing, and you're talking about PlayStation failing Bend. They failed them on that too. They didn't give them enough time. The game needed one more month to cook.
Yeah, and the pre-release version,
that pre-release version that we played was
we
buggy
both
as shit.
experienced was fucked.
But it was a good game.
Really good.
And it all just got docked from the likes of myself and others who put numerical scores on it that went to Metacritic, docked it because of the performance of it for the most part, or some overly
job, right?
or some overly opinionated people about comments about groping his wife's ass, like. But also, fuck off, like.
Okay, like once again,
my wife has a nice ass. I like to touch it too. Like,
yeah, I don't leave my partner alone.
Yeah,
that's okay because she's my partner.
Yeah. And the fact that we just sanitize, like, pretend that people aren't attracted to their partners, and like, it's just fucking dumb.
Like, even
I ignore all that bullshit. Like, there would be bullshit from John Garvin and Jeff Ross if they announced Days Gone 2. But if you want to keep Bend Studio in action, that's the game, because it'll sell 10 million copies.
Well, you'd hope
it'll sell many millions, like more than enough to justify the team's existence.
You would hope that, and I do worry that the inflated PC sales numbers of Days Gone, because it was the first and was quite so as was no, it was second. Sorry, Horizon was first, because even that was quite an impressive amount, and that's where a lot of that love for Days Gone has come. As people played it again, they played the director's cut. It may be an inflated impact.
So, by February 2022, the game had sold 7.32 million.
Across both platforms?
When did the PC... No, so the PC version had sold... So when did the PC version come out? I feel like it was really early 2022, because it then says...
Yeah.
PC sales had sold 852,000 units by March of 2022, so that's almost a million, what I think was a month. Hang on. Days Gone PC release date. Came out on... I don't think that's right. But that's Google Gemini for you.
Hang on.
Let me just scroll and look for it properly in an actual article. May 18th, 2021.
So it did 800 in a year.
So it did 800 in 7 months on PC. But that's then on top of the 6.5 million that it had sold up to that point. And we've had then a PS5 version. We've had a remaster. We've had all those things. Jeff Ross, the last number he spouted was 9 million.
Oof.
Like, that's more than enough. And the legacy of that game has just built and built and built. And I also think that if that game came out, I think the fans come out to make a statement.
Yeah. Especially in this post games as a service fumble, I think that might be one of the. It's certainly, once again, on the presumption they're willing to cater to the hardcore. Yeah, it would appease us. I think I think the narrative around PlayStation could alter if they were to do something like that.
Yeah, and they are going to have to deal with John Garvin. Like, yes. he's going, and I don't mean dealt with.
Just take him out.
They're probably gonna need to get his blessing. They might need to go have a chat to Michael Mumbauer and be like, "Hey, mate, we want him back."
At the same time, they don't fucking have to.
Well, they don't have to, but...
Look at God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. They didn't consult with Jaffe.
Yeah, but Jaffe wasn't outspoken about it. He'd already
he was afterwards.
Well and truly stepped away. There'd already been games released post his departure, and he...
But you get my point, though,
God
right?
of War 2. I think this is a different thing where you've got someone who's kind of left the team, who wanted to do Days Gone 2, who is disgruntled and has gotten a massive profile online because of it. And is a big part of the narrative around this game now. So you have to navigate that one. And whether that's getting him on board, whether that's just speaking to him and getting his blessing, which you may not, but like, you just...
The caveats they would both put on to come back,
even if you don't get him on board, but you just get his blessing. Like, okay, we're doing this thing. We'd love for you to be able to co-sign this and just say,
are you comfortable with us doing, based on the concept by these people?
Yeah.
Like in the opening credits.
And show you the proper respect that you deserve, but obviously, unless you want to come and join us, you're not going to be a part of it.
Once again, with their behavior, I don't think it's what they deserve, but I think it's the right thing to do.
I think they
may look justified otherwise.
Yeah, I think they were justified.
Making the choice to be to out loud in public, like actively bury things, like people, companies, decisions. You are making a very, very clear choice.
Yeah.
So anyone that were to work with them would be immediately concerned.
Yeah, it's risky business. Yeah, I think just getting their blessing and then going and making the game is probably the right call. But
even the fact that they got shitty about Astrobot, like having a Deacon St. John in Astrobot.
Oh, shit, he did too, didn't he?
Like, you understand that this people are getting excited by this, and you're being the fart in the room.
Yeah, that one was too far. But it'll save Bend. Days Gone 2 will save Bend.
I think it would, yeah.
You sell 10 million copies, there's 600 million gross, plus anything else that you do on top of it, you are absolutely laughing.
Yeah.
If you're that team.
The difficulty
that team has got a low overhead compared to everyone else in North America as well.
Because Oregon's cheap, comparatively, quite cheap, because only people that live there would work there.
Well, yeah, Yeah, exactly. They're not California.
Yeah, but the expectations on it to deliver as close to that 10 million as they could would be very high.
Yeah. Next one we'll keep really quick, because we can only really speculate, and we know they've had a God of War multiplayer game cancelled. Blue Point, take a stab in the dark.
What a dumbass decision. Side note, what a dumbass decision. As someone who adores God of War, I love God of War, no question. Like, it's behind me, it's everywhere, it's the centerpiece of my lounge room. Like, I fucking shit you not. What the granted, Blue Point did the PS2 to PS3 HD upgrades or whatever, and they were great. They were fantastic. But when you acquire a studio whose express skill set is remakes and remasters, and you go, hey, can you make a new game? And I'm sure there was an ambition within the team to make
they do
their
want
own
to.
IP.
That's been public, and the thing that shocked me about this God of War thing is that during the Insomniac leak, there was a screenshot that came out of the Blue Point game, and I was like, cool, this is a new IP. Like, it looked new IP. It did not, and now I have to scrape my memory. I doubt I'd be able to find that screenshot with ease now.
No.
I'm sure it's available, but I don't know where to look. If someone's watching and knows where that link is,
yeah, there's no
comment section. Drop it. But it didn't look God of War to me.
No.
I'm like, fuck. This is it. This is like you can do another remake to support the production of this game, but they haven't. So,
but in that same breath though, like Nixxes, they were purchased with the entire purpose, as is Valkyrie. Valkyrie was bought as a support studio. Nixxes was brought in to do PC ports. We don't hear either of them going, "I wish we could make our own game." Like, no, you were bought with a purpose. And sadly, Blue Point were bought. I would presume were bought with that purpose.
Of course, Demon's Souls was the very first project as a result.
Exactly, and as of right now, PlayStation, the release frequency which PlayStation have to work with, having a studio that can help bolster and fill that pipeline with nostalgic games that make you, reminisce about PlayStation and the good times you've had. That's what you should be working on. That is what you should like. If you have a team that's just dedicated to nostalgia, you are making money.
And Betson doesn't need an online multiplayer God of War because he's still got God of War Ascension.
Yeah, sadly.
Those servers are still online. I played it like 6 months ago.
Okay, fuck out, really?
Yeah, when I was working on something for RPM, I went and checked out.
All right, okay. In that case, I might have to go fuck with that. That'd be fun.
The multiplayer still works. I got obliterated because the only people that play it are fucking bros.
It's the same as
It's like playing against the Last of Us multiplayer with Buddy. Like,
yeah,
they're all buddies.
Oh man, when I went to catch up with Buddy, when I went to Brisbane for the wrestling in February this year, he was just like, "Hi, Buddy, love you." Watching him just lock in, as the kids would say, and just really like kick in a gear playing the Last of Us online factions. It's ridiculous. So I understand why Ascension would just have you murdered.
So throw a game at me. What's the thing that they need to remake?
Personally, Harvest Moon.
Actually, sorry. What do you think what do you think they will remake, and what do you want them to remake?
Okay. So immediately I think of like sort of seminal experiences. So I know for you and I, it would be Harvest Moon, Back to Nature, and Shanewood Cricket 97.
99, please.
99, my apologies. Right there. Oh, my Harvest Moon's on there. Oh, it's on a shelf over there.
I love that I just happened to have it here handy. I was talking to... I pulled it out in the last episode, I think. And it's just been sitting on the desk all week. Along with this
my
specimen
immediate
would earn
default...
me hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Look at that shit.
I have...
That's like immaculate still.
I have a gold and a blue somewhere in this house. I found them when I moved, and they don't look that good, I can assure you. Oh. They've been very well loved. My immediate interest would be like I think everyone wants Bloodborne. That's the answer. But clearly we are seeing by the inaction that PlayStation has done or that From Software have done, there must be a clause in their agreement somewhere that stipulates that only they can work on Bloodborne. because
Yeah,
PlayStation
quite
own the IP, but they have not actioned it. Yet they have made, what was that, Duresime or whatever, like there has
was
been
the VR game.
yeah, like they have made games with PlayStation specifically, like FromSoft have, but also FromSoft are too big now. They don't have time to work for one console anymore.
I mean,
But
Sony
also,
owns a
no
good
one
chunk
buys
of
their games on
Kadokawa
Xbox.
now,
Who fucking cares?
so like
That is also true.
there can be something that comes down the pipeline or whatever, but it doesn't seem like
But then again, that'd
PlayStation's
be more
pushy
a
in that regard
sequel
either,
than
because
it would
otherwise
be.
we'd see more stuff that way. Like, Sony owns a few stakes in different companies, and like Devolver, and yet you'll still get Switch exclusives for Devolver sometimes. So
Yeah. So in terms of what would I want Bluepoint to work on, my immediate answer is I want them to tell me. Like, I don't want to tell them what I want, because what I want is very unique and very particular.
But what is the dream one? What is the one? Because it's not going to be Harvest Moon, because obviously they don't own, like, PlayStation doesn't own it.
Like,
from the PlayStation library, if you could get a remake of any one game, what game would you pick? And I can stall for you if you want, because I've got an answer.
Yeah, go for it. Because like my immediate answers are all not even coincidentally not first party titles. Like when I think about PS1, because my brain went immediately to PS1, right? That's where we'd want to go, because there's a lot of games. Like it'd be like Silent Hill, that's apparently happening. Tekken 3 I adored. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, that exists.
And yeah, they're all
Harvest
third party
Moon,
as well,
Reboot.
so they're not going to be the ones. Yeah.
Yeah. A remaster. Like once again, if they want them to work on God of War so bad, get them to remake the first game.
Yep.
Get
well, the first
two.
Get them in
first two.
With,
Get 1 and 2 so they're both playable on current generation, in the same way that 3 is available through PS4.
For me, I think PS3 instantly, and I would love to see that remake, or like a remake of either Resistance or Infamous.
That was going Resistance to be on my
FPS,
list.
Resistance for the FPS rationale. Infamous because I adore it. I mean, I adore Resistance as well, but
I think I would agree.
I'm not saying again. This is the want as opposed to what I think will happen.
It's also interesting how my immediate default is when I want remakes, I think of PS1 and PS2, forgetting that PS3 is now considered retro. So that
they've been there and done it with things like Demon Souls. Like they've got a pattern of behavior already. It's the most recent project.
Yeah, like a Resistance would be sick. I think Killzone would be tidy too.
Imagine remaking Resistance with the modern tech, but then you're bringing things back like the weapon wheel
and a good control scheme.
Yeah, good control scheme. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I've got to break my brain from not thinking about PS1 and PS2, because I think
PS2 I just don't have that much nostalgia for myself. For me,
I do, but it's very niche.
Outside of what's kind of, it's probably hard to judge the PS5 one at the moment because there's so much chaos that surrounds the story. But for me, setting the PS5 aside because it's incomplete, the PS2 for me is the weakest PlayStation platform.
In terms of my experience, yeah, I'd probably agree. Because PS3 was where I really kicked into gears. Because I bought my PS3. There's
an age and stage thing for both of us, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was 18. I remember being 18 because I just finished high school. When I bought my PS3, I bought it when the bundle with Metal Gear Solid: Guns of the Patriots, which is another game I fucking wish.
I bought it day one for $1,000. So yeah, I got anyone who complains about the price of consoles now. I spent $1,000 in 2007 on a PS3.
Yeah, I got the 40 gigs. It cost me $800. I remember doing it. Like I remember going to EB Games in Melbourne Central because I was at uni at the time, and every week I'd just go and put $100 on it because the term of the lay-by, because that was back then it was lay-by, was 7 weeks. So I knew I had 7 installments to fucking pay it off. But yeah, I didn't have access to the big 60 gig backwards compat model, and I wish I still trolled Marketplace for it.
Yellow lighted of death, and
still fixed. You still have it?
Couldn't fix it.
I tried.
I've taken it to. It got a temporary fix. They put a mod fan on it to bring the temperature down. No. Took it to someone else to get it fixed, and it actually fired up, and it lasted a day.
Yeah, okay.
And I love him, and he listens to the show. He did an amazing job with it, but that thing was cooked. Heartbreak.
But yeah, so Blue Point should do something. Something.
Fair enough. All right. Haven Studios. Fair Games is the thing, of course. Just
the pressure on Fair Games to deliver is something fucking crazy.
Yeah. Does the game release? Is probably the one question for this one.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. But we obviously heard the report, and this, we keep referencing Colin, but it was him in the show that brought it up, where the previews, and this was all just before Jade Raymond then departed, was that it didn't preview very well. So,
look, but then at the same time, there's that old tried and true story of Shuhei being like, God of War sucks, and then they fixed it.
Well, he told him to go take it to the table. And then there's also the stories of The Last of Us and the mock reviews being, oh yeah, it's like a solid 7 or 8, and then it's the most awarded game of all time, pretty much. So, go figure. Here's a fun one to talk about. Insomniac Games. Obviously, Wolverine is the most pressing thing. It seems like the Venom project from the Insomniac leak is probably dead.
Yeah.
As is the rumors of the DLC for Spider-Man 2. You would definitely expect that to be out by now. So, Wolverine's presumably up next. What do you see as the future for this team beyond that? Because again, the leak revealed stuff.
Well, the presumption would be that there's another Ratchet at some point at some time, right?
You checked out the leak, didn't you?
No.
Yeah, Ratchet's in there.
Yeah.
Ratchet is meant to be 2029.
Look, I admittedly didn't go through the leak mostly for my own spoilers, because I love the speculative nature of it all.
I didn't look at any of the video.
Yeah.
I didn't look at the video, and I obviously saw the screenshot, as I mentioned before, about Blue Point. But
yeah, so I didn't look at it. Not how there was a bunch of people that were like, out of stance for journalistic integrity, I'm not going to look, but I'll look at every other report. Like, no, fuck that noise. I just simply went, look, I feel that this is a little too much information, and I like speculative. I'm sure a lot of my things would be answered if I just looked at that leak. I'm sure I could probably go find it and read through it. But yeah, for me, my immediate
for it as we speak.
Yeah, but Ratchet makes complete sense. Rift Apart was really fun. I would still, as we then learned by them putting it to PC, some of the bullshit they sold on that game of being, it's only available on PS5. It can only do this because of the SSD or whatever. Like, well, clearly fucking not, mate.
Do you want your answers now?
Yes, please.
So again, Venom clearly hasn't come to pass unless it's a reveal, like a Gamescom reveal, and it's out before the end of the year, because it was slated for end of 2025.
Like, I knew I'm aware of the cliff notes of the leak, so like I'm aware that was in there, and then not
Wolverine end of 2026.
The multiplayer game as well, because I remember talking to my son about it.
I've still got the video.
Yeah.
So Venom, I guess, potentially could be a thing, but the lack of anything makes me think it's probably dead. But it could be an announcement and a launch.
The lack of support to Spider-Man 2 in general, like they released a couple skins and stuff afterwards, but it's been dead.
Yeah,
like, there's been no.
And they have multiple teams, so it's. Yeah. I think it's still. It feels unlikely, because you would imagine that if you're putting out a Marvel Spider-Man Venom game coming out this year, you would have announced it.
Yeah, this isn't a Fallout 4 3 months of hype. Like there is I would imagine part of the agreements with Marvel and Disney is you hype the shit out of that thing.
The only way I could see that that's not the case is because it's already leaked. So maybe they're like, all right, you drop it and go fucking hard, like just. Yeah. But I do think it's unlikely. But anyway, that was slated for the end of 2025, so it's a possibility. Wolverine end of 2026, I believe it. Spider-Man 3 end of 2028, Ratchet end of 2029, and then Marvel's X-Men.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now. Yeah,
with a new IP slated for 2031, 2020, and 2032, somewhere in that window. Like, that's a 2-year bracket for that. Which would be nice, by the way, because I presume new IP means not a Marvel IP.
Makes you wonder how long's this contracted deal that they've got with Marvel, eh?
Yeah.
Got to be at least, like, what? It's a weird amount of years.
Well, that takes you to 2030 for X-Men.
Yeah. Fuck, I'd play the shit out of that X-Men game, eh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, give me that. Give me all of that. All of that.
Fuck, I love that leak. It was such
I also believe that Insomniac can deliver on all those things.
Oh, hang on, but here's the extended one. Come on, where's that image just gone? 20. That can't be right. No, it can't be right. It seems like there's multiple. For some reason, you've got X-Men in that window that we just discussed, and then it jumps to X-Men 3, but it looks like a cubed, like like to the power of 3. But then there's no X-Men 2 in the middle. I don't get it.
Because X-Men, that's
2033. I don't know. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not. That wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't.
Unless they're no, because they're not counting Wolverine because it's Marvel X-Men.
Yeah.
Either way, any of those things from Insomniac, gimme.
But yeah, geez, wouldn't it be like it'd be huge if Venom was that? Like we've gone, okay, the cat's already out of the bag. That's the saying, right? Yeah, the cat's out of the bag. Yeah. Let's just Fallout 4 this thing.
Yeah, dude, that would be incredible. Like I've got my 12 inches of Venom behind me. Yeah. I adored that game. But now granted,
where is mine?
I also, my admiration for the Spider-Man games sits differently because my son is a massive Spider-Man fan.
He's wild about it, yeah.
He's huge, and we were very lucky to be provided the review code for Spider-Man 2 super early, and it was a weekend that I had my son, so he and I have this deeply ingrained memory and emotional connection to that game. Like the fact that he and I were able to finish it, like he can have in his cap that he was one of the first people to play that game in the world. I hold, what am I? I think I'm the 23rd person to platinum it in the world according to PlayStation trophies, nice. Or whatever.
PSN profiles, yeah.
PSN profiles.
So are you on private at the moment? I'll check it out.
I'm not on private at the moment.
Taking a look.
I think I am. Drum roll.
For some reason, it's just shit the bed on me. I'll try it again.
Actually, let me have a look. While we're chatting, so what we'll do is we'll go PSN profiles, and we just go straight to Spider-Man 2.
Yours is working faster than mine.
Spider-Man 2. What? I don't want no. What?
But
apparently now I'm searching for a fucking profile called Spider-Man 2. That's not what I asked for at all. Games. Search for game.
Yeah, I think it's having a bit of a rough time at the moment.
2. Search. It is having a rough time right now.
Search for a user.
Oh, is it called Marvel Spider-Man?
Wait, it says, there's no trophies. You might be on private at the moment.
I must be.
Yeah, you must be on private at the moment. That'd explain it. But, yeah, obviously there's a bit of extra stuff there when it comes to you for Insomniac, and I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Next up is the big one.
Yes.
Naughty Dog.
No dog.
We already know it. Intergalactic, and we know the multiplayer project's cancelled. I think they are the two-team town now. I think they have gone down that path. I know I'm saying I want that. I think they are that. I think it's a full-blown two-team thing.
I must be on private because both my because I can see I can see Kieran at number 10. Our good friend Kieran for Bruges.
Yeah.
And the Pop C account, which was where Max was playing it, was a couple of spots after him, and then I was a couple of spots after him. So yeah, neither of us are on there at the moment. Sorry, but yes, the answer is Intergalactic. Fraudulent. Super keen. Oh, and there's you at number 44.
Yeah, boy, top 50.
Spider-Man. But yes, Intergalactic is the super keen. Mostly because I want something different out of Naughty Dog. I adore The Last of Us. I have for the longest time, but I do have a little bit of Last of Us fatigue.
Oh.
I haven't watched season 2 yet of the show. Now, admittedly, I think that's because I know that Bella Ramsey was absolutely not the tentpole actor in that show. The answer was Pedro. So with the loss of Pedro Pascal, staggeringly impacts for me not the appeal. Like, I say that I don't think she's a bad actress. I think she's a great actress, but without without that dichotomy of her and Joel and how they work together. Sorry, her and Pedro, I guess. So even her version of Ellie, I should say, and this version of Joel, she is intentionally written too differently from the game to be able to stand up on her own. So that's part of the reason I think why I've not really rushed into season 2. But yeah, I just want something that isn't Last of Us.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get the part 3 eventually. It's just a matter of time. But
yeah, but I don't want that right. I want that later.
Give me Intergalactic, change of pace, probably good for the whole studio as well, because I feel like the feeling in the office must be very similar to what. Do you remember that old report that came out about NetherRealm and just like the amount of over the top violence that they had to compile from combat? He's doing all sorts of numbers on the team. I feel like there's got to be a similar sort of thing, just like the dark, brooding, depressing, ultra-violent, angry nature of, The Last of Us Part 2 in particular, and then the amount of time they've spent with it since must be doing a number on them to an extent. So it's probably not a bad thing for them to...
It's interesting you mention that, because as someone that works in mental health and has for quite a number of years, I have such a strong issue with NetherRealms' impact on their staff base by essentially almost making them watch car crash videos just to nail the fatalities. I'm like, get fucked. No game is worth that level of trauma.
Yeah, you don't need to see fucking gigantic spikes going through people's head to then render it in the game.
No. But yeah, I imagine there's a little bit of, can we do something else, please, from Naughty Dog internally?
Yeah, this is obviously not to the same degree, but it's also it's just a mental fatigue, I suppose.
Yeah. But also, if you work at NetherRealm, you know what you're in for. I say that, and you know you are making a fighting game. Where Naughty Dog, although have now built themselves into the Last of Us studio, I imagine many of them didn't envision that. But at the same time, we don't know. The belief is that there is this Uncharted sequel in the works somewhere.
We're not going to work on it anymore, but also it turned out that we are working on it again.
Yeah. I don't believe that's in-house at Naughty Dog.
That's Team 2. No, I reckon that's Team 2 now.
Do you reckon that's Team 2? Do you reckon that's... Okay.
With all the other goings on with the teams, it's probably just been bring it in-house.
Very possible. Very possible.
One that I don't think we have much to say about at all here. San Diego. They'll just keep putting out MLB.
Yeah, and I'm grateful. Please do. I thoroughly enjoy MLB The Show.
The team that is closest to your heart, then. Santa Monica Studio.
Yeah.
God of War 2D and God of War Next, and Corey doing what he's doing now. Maybe God of War 2D is an indie team or someone else where Santa Monica's.
I have a feeling that would be a second party situation. I feel.
Yeah.
I'd play the fuck out of that, obviously. Whatever. I would be very happy with another game within the God of War franchise. Whether it be within Norse mythology, which I don't think it will be. I think they've closed that off pretty tightly.
Yeah.
Whether it be going into other pantheons. She wants to have to cough.
You're right.
Sorry, Egyptian? The idea of whether it be Egyptian, whether it be Celtic, they're both things. I think Japanese lore was also mentioned when you fight Tyr in Valhalla. There were like 3 major weapons that he uses. Yeah, one of them was Celtic. The other was one was obviously Norse. One was Egyptian, and one was I think it was a katana. I don't have an interest in playing a Atreus game, which I think there's kind of a bit of the chats about. Not because I dislike the character. I quite like the character in the same way that Spider-Man is very important to my son and I. God of War is also very important to my son and I. I talk about it all the time whenever I get the opportunity about how much those games mean to me. As you know, I see a lot of similes and similarities between myself and Kratos. Not in
you too slaughtered millions of people and several Greek
that's the
gods.
main part, like the main comparison really. But predominantly around the desire to be better and to grow and change, and it aligns very nicely with who I am and how I've grown as a father. So I say that I don't want an Atreus game, not in a dismissiveness to the character. I just don't think it would hit the same way as playing Kratos.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
I think there's very select people that have the ability to rejigger a franchise away from a particular character, from the title character, and have it feel impactful. And the only one I can immediately think of would be the likes of Kojima in Metal Gear Solid 2, shifting away from
Raiden.
Snake to go to Raiden. We saw it, as a weird example with Gears of War, where they attempted to pivot away from Marcus Phoenix, and then now they're like, more Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, that's mostly because they got themselves into a knot with the way they ended Gears 5, but
yeah,
I just don't think they know how to solve it. I don't think they know how to solve it.
Probably that too. So yeah, that's my immediate, like, I'd play it, and I'm sure I'll love it, but there's that. But yeah, I'm also very intrigued into it to see what Corey is doing, because admittedly, prior to God of War 2018, he was certainly not on my list of people or writers or creators that I would really focus on. But his ability to hone into my my emotion and my essence in God of War 2018 leads me to, and then on top of that, to then have the novelization written by his father. That level of care and thought and consideration to soft rebooting that character and building that world shows me who Corey is as a creator, and it immediately has me excited for what his next thing will be.
Yeah, no, I think
I don't see it being space, as per the rumors many years ago with Intergalactic. But sorry to cut you off. Yes.
No, you're right. No, I think he rose to the absolute, like the Neil Druckmann, the Amy Hennig, the oh my god, I've just gone blank on his name.
From
that
where?
Does Bioshock. Ken Levine.
Oh, Ken Levine, yeah.
The Kojimas, like he entered that orbit with God of War 2018.
Joseph Fares.
Yeah, I mean for different reasons, but he's in that.
Yeah.
And also, outside of Joseph Fares, I feel like Corey's the next most likely person to be like, no, fuck you, on camera.
Yeah,
I feel like he's that. I think like he's probably that guy. And everyone's going, oh yeah, that's endearing. We love Corey.
We love you, Corey.
Look, I think I'm with you when it comes to. I don't think. I'm sure the game will be good, and like you said, I'd play it as well. But I don't think you can do God of War without Kratos at this point, and we've got 3 generations of games that prove that. I don't like you can shift away for a bit, like we did with Ragnarok, but I don't think you can full blown. Here's a game with him play
because
in the backseat,
even when you shift away in Ragnarok,
whatever.
it's even if you step away from playing as Kratos in Ragnarok, spoilers, it's still Kratos adjacent.
Yeah,
because he's you're going to go back to him in a moment.
Yeah.
The
idea that we have 8, 10, maybe more hours without, no.
Yeah, no.
It could be a good game. It could be a very good game for what it is, but
yeah,
I think
what would it be though?
Yeah, well, no, I don't know, but like, it could be a very good game. I would trust them that it's going to be a very good game, but I don't. It doesn't compute with it fitting in the universe properly. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm kind of in step with you when it comes to all this stuff. So that takes us to our final first-party studio outside of returning to the conversation about Bungie, and it's one of the more obvious ones now, is Sucker Punch, because they've got Ghost coming out in a matter of months. So I guess the question that I'll ask you, and I know you're not crazy about Ghost, is do they do a Legends multiplayer thing, just to cycle in our multiplayer situation that we've been folding in constantly along the way here? Do they do like a Legends 2 style thing, whether it's Legends 2 or some sort of multiplayer spin-off, because they had a lot of success with Legends?
Yes. I don't think it'll be there at launch.
No, it won't be. The recent state of play, that was the time to do it if they had it ready, and they didn't announce it, so it's not going to be there, I don't think.
I think it would come later down the line. Having not played Legends, so I can't speak to it comparatively. You have
to join myself and Max when we do a run recently. He's going to carry me the whole way through it. It'll be good fun.
Yeah, sure, why not? But it would make sense. Once again, in terms of helping, because I do think a lot Legends allowed a lot of people to return to Ghost of Tsushima and play it deeper, and in turn become more emotionally connected to it. And it allows them to sort of tell different stories and touch on different things outside of, um, Jin Sakai's story in that case. Uh, yeah, when I couldn't tell you, but I wouldn't surprise me.
That's fair.
Play yourself.
And so let's cycle back to Bungie.
Oh, what about yourself though? Do you think there'll be a Legends 2?
Yeah, actually, I think there will be. Yeah, that's your way to bring your Jins and those sorts. They've been very clear. We're not going to have little touchstones and references to Jin in Yotei. So that's your way to do it and kind of go balls to the wall, have a bit of stupid fun. And not Insomniac. Sucker Punch does love a bit of stupid fun. They've proven that through Sly. They've proven it through Infamous. But this, Ghost is a very buttoned up, proper thing. So they've been able to kind of embrace the fun and their chaos through Legends, and I think they'll do it again here. It's almost like they need that outlet still.
I would agree. All right, Bungie time. So I find it very interesting.
I've done it to death on recent episodes when it comes to Bungie, so I don't have much to add here that I haven't already done. So please just
look, I'm sure what I'll say will probably align a lot with yourself as well. I do find it very interesting that the PlayStation made the purchase of Bungie in the first place. Initially, I remember when it happened, I was like, "Oh, it's a choice," and then by having them know and go, "Oh no, we're still going to publish everywhere," I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe it's a more tactical play, if anything." However, with more information that we have now and the ability to look retrospectively, the writing was on the wall the entire time. The amount of times that they were praised, picked up, and then dropped tells you that there is some systemic and foundational problems within Bungie as a studio. Very rarely would a publisher go, "You know what? You guys can leave and you can take your IP with you." That doesn't happen.
I mean, that's only happened once technically, because obviously they departed, they left Microsoft and Halo stayed with Microsoft.
But we're talking about Destiny specifically.
But Destiny, yeah, they obviously ditched. I wish we'd get more of a story around that. Like how much of it was Activision absolutely going, "Yeah, great, you're becoming a liability for us."
Which, looking at the information we have now, I believe that to be the case.
Whereas I feel like back then, at the particular time that it happened, Destiny was a huge, like at the absolute peak of its powers.
And I would agree with that. But
Activision trades in dollars and cents, and of the time especially, just traded in dollars and cents and nothing more. So right then and there, I go, no, I don't think they would have had any problems with that whatsoever. I think the problem resides, like there's problems within Bungie, and I think it's
But a workplace like Activision, right? They're smart people in there, and they know how to forecast, and they know how to look forward, and they know how to see all this thing, or that side, right? Yeah. So even though Destiny may have been at its peak, there would have been indicators or markers or something to make it observable that the path is changing, because they wouldn't vacate a cash cow like Activision. Wouldn't forego a cash cow like Destiny unless the risk was much greater than the reward. Now, whether it be looking at the diminishing returns upon each release, of each
expansion
DLC or each expansion, or the behaviors within the studio being not unideal. And then on top of that, as we know now, like their what's the word I'm looking for? Their openness to steal. I was going to be like, their predilection to
I like
copyright
that.
infringement.
Yeah, good one.
Tells me that like there's systemic problems within the business. Now, granted, with Activision, they made a 10-year deal, and they chose to step away from some of that
Walk
deal
as soon as they could. Yeah.
And then, without that information being privy, because I imagine within Discovery for that merger, But with PlayStation and Bungie, they would have had to look at their books. They would have had to look at these things. Now, for whatever reason, whether that information was obscured and not provided to them, I can't say, because that's essentially calling someone somewhere a liar. And
Or maybe
actively
the question could be,
information.
how much weight did PlayStation put upon that? They go, yeah, no, sure, but that's fine. The game is kind of where it's at. We want you here for these various other reasons.
Like we're happy to work with unauthorized structures. An example, like Naughty Dog for the longest time didn't have a linear vertical structure; it was very horizontal.
They didn't have producers, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right. So like they're very aware, like, oh, we were happy to work with alternate structures, alternate systems, but they came into PlayStation with a very particular idea in mind. That PlayStation were like, we're going to, at least this seems to be the perception. We want you to come in, support us in our live service initiative, in our games as a service space, but you are free to do what, we believe in you so much that you are free to do as you please. However, with diminishing returns from Destiny 2 at large, the fuck around with Marathon and the concerns around Marathon's progression, its potential, etc. I don't see them selling Bungie, but I certainly see them closing them.
So where I'm at,
couldn't tell you.
Sorry, what was that last bit?
When? Couldn't tell you. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow or in the next 3 years. But if Marathon does not deliver that autonomy and that freedom of movement that Bungie may have had previously, will be stripped so quickly. It's already being actively reduced.
My stance, and it's why they left Microsoft, it's why they ultimately parted ways with Activision, is that they want to do things my way or the highway. And as soon as the boss at Microsoft, whether it's Phil, at Activision, whether it's Bobby Kotick, as soon as they start going, no, honing in on the Destiny part of it, Destiny 2 was never meant to be a thing. Destiny 1 was meant to go for the 10 years, and that was the deal. Yep. And maybe after that, we'd look at a new game, because we've probably tapped the capacity of what this game can actually give us, engines, all those sorts of things, hard drive space, whatever it happened to be. Like,
this week, Max finally severed his tie. He separated from Destiny 2 and now has 250.
And he played Anthem with me as a result.
Yeah. Was it a step up? No. But you need a rebound. You need a rebound, right? Sometimes you need to have a rebound from your, just be like, look, it wasn't better than my marriage, but it helped me realize what I had.
Went and fucked BioWare instead, or got fucked by BioWare instead.
Yeah, pretty much.
We both did.
Hey, you've done it now. You achieved your objective.
So, yeah, I think Activision was happy because they've probably gone, no, we want a Destiny 3. That's next. And they've gone, no, we want to keep this going. And then Activision's gone, well, if you're not going to play ball and you want to go, fine, go. Take an IP with you. We're not going to use it then. Go for it.
Well, when I take my ball and leave, I'm like, okay, take your fucking ball.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's that. And so, but now, because of the financial position that they're in, they've arrived at PlayStation. They've obviously, PlayStation, you're right, they're not going to sell them. They're not going to, if you go, we're going to dig our heels in, fine, we'll fucking sack you. We don't care. We'll get the right people in place. Your name as a company has certainly taken a bit of a beating, but your name is the name associated with Destiny and Halo. It is one of the biggest brands.
Oh, actually, I would disagree. I don't think they are connected to Halo to the average person anymore.
Not anymore. No, but you're 100% right. Not anymore. But when we if we come out there, we've turned you into the studio that we want you to be, because fuck you, we got rid of Jason Jones, we got rid of this person, we got rid of that person, and you're now one of the cogs in the in the PlayStation first party, as opposed to being this thing on the side that you currently are, right down to the point that you're not in this list from Push Square. Once you're part of that machine, you're doing things our way. You go through Herman, and he approves, and whatever process they've got, you now play our game. And I don't think they're going to buckle like Activision or like Microsoft did. So then that game comes out, whatever it happens to be. Maybe it's a single-player experience at its core with the multiplayer on the side, old Halo style, whatever it happens to be. But Sony's able to come out and go, from the team that made Halo and Destiny, and instantly people just lock in. They don't know who the Bungie is, but they know what Halo and they know what Destiny are.
True.
So I think, yeah, you're right. They'll never sell them, and if something was going to happen, it would be a closure. But I think the name of Bungie or what they've created carries so much weight that they can just eventually sculpt them into what they want, and then stick Halo and Destiny in front of every single trailer they put out there, and basically force this next game, Marathon or whatever comes after it, into a guaranteed win. Not as much as you can have a guaranteed win in this industry. The closer you can get to a guaranteed win straight away. Just go, okay, this is and we get our first person shooter that we're hankering for, because this is a team that's absolutely got the talent to do it. They just don't have any fucking leadership quality. They've got the skills and no direction.
Yeah. So like the technical prowess is there, but the culture is fucked.
Yeah. So we can fix that at PlayStation.
We'll change the culture.
We'll just put all the right people in there, and we'll fix this thing. And then what have we got left? Oh, just an unbelievably talented group of people.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy in terms of like, how do we fix them? It's so easy how to fix them. Doing it's going to be an expensive and timely endeavor. But I think if that's the lever they have to pull, they'll do it, because they're not going to sell them.
I would agree.
And yeah, so I think that's where we end up in that regard. That's all of our first party studios covered. We've also gone for, just as of this moment, 2 hours.
Yeah.
We had some other notes. It's been 2 hours. I can't even remember what other little mini topics we were going to discuss.
The other thing was like Xbox on PlayStation or Playstation on Xbox. That could be a conversation in and of itself, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly lengthy one that we could have at some other time as well. So maybe we rain check that and revisit it sometime after.
We'll do a sequel?
Yeah, we'll do a sequel at some point. We'll get Matto on board
just like
as well.
Destiny, we didn't intend there to be a sequel. Bad, fuck it, we'll make one.
Yeah, we'll make one. We'll force it upon you, the listener, to go through this, go through it once again with us. But we'll bring Matto along for the ride as well. And we'll also have more evidence. Like, Gears will be out at that point, most likely. All those sorts of things will have started to transpire. I cannot fucking wait to play Gears on PlayStation.
I can't wait to play Gears for the first time.
Mate, you are in for such a good ride.
Mm.
It holds up. I guarantee you it holds up.
And I get trophies. Success.
And you get trophies. That's why I'm most excited. That's why I'm most excited.
Not that I'm going to ruch a platinum for... Like, I don't actively rush for platinum.
No,
especially...
especially...
I don't have the time. But I just like getting trophies.
Mate, if they stick to their guns with the multiplayer trophies, you will not get the platinum.
No, of course not.
What they call it? There was an absurd...
Yeah, like to kill like 10,000 dudes or some shit.
Yeah, and then it was like 100,000 in Gears 2. It was like fucking wild. Gears of... I'm going to have to look it up. Gears of War multiplayer achievement. I'm just going to put the word crazy on the end just because I'm sure that's going to help. It's called Seriously.
Mm.
And yeah, 10,000, 100,000 in Gears 2. Gears 3.
1 million.
Like in the Gears Ultimate Edition was 10,000 kills, which will be essentially what it's going to be if they copy paste that into.
I imagine they would.
Which they might. This is a whole other conversation, but I'm so absurdly excited for that, and Halo. And I've played some Halos. I've played 1 in full. I think I've played 2 in full. Haven't finished 3. I finished 4. I suffered 5. Loved Infinite, but didn't finish it. Like, I'm kind of sporadic with different things in the Halo universe, but fuck, I'll play the shit out of that on PlayStation. Because now you're coming to where I want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
They're coming to me rather than me having to go to them.
Yeah. Which is a big part of that conversation, which we'll have to do another day. But
like it's happened with Forza. Holy shit, mate. I'm playing a lot of Forza Horizon.
I haven't picked it up yet, but...
Well, I benefited from getting a code. But
yeah. Speaking of, I need an email.
Didn't I drop one for you yesterday?
Oh, you absolutely did. Oh, you did too. Yeah. No, that's fine.
Behind the scenes, people, no one from Xbox is watching 2 hours into this podcast to work out where you got that email.
Well, no, look, understandably, right? The conversation was, hey, we don't have it. Like, we used to be on the list for Xbox many, many years ago, but once we started niching into PlayStation, we very quickly fell off their list, as we did with Nintendo. It was not the relationship I had with Nintendo was way stronger than I ever had with Microsoft, but yeah, like there's no surprise.
Turns out it's the same PR people, so Betson already knows where to go.
Sweet, yeah, might work well, might work in my favor. But
yeah,
yeah, there you go.
Well, we're about to wrap this up, but we have spoken for 2 hours about PlayStation, and you host a PlayStation show. You're going to be recording it as of when we have this conversation. You're going to be recording it tomorrow, and our 2 shows are going to go to air at about the same time.
They absolutely
so
will.
Tell them
double your Betson on your Tuesday. Ew. Why?
Get all that Betson in your ears. Tell people where they need to go to get For the Players.
Well, if you want to hear more about what I have to say about PlayStation and hopefully, fingers crossed, Padge in the future, be sure to check out For the Players. The Pop C PlayStation podcast is available on all your podcast services of choice. It is on YouTube. It is all over the place. But if you want to hear what I have to say about whether it be PlayStation or wrestling or my kid or other bullshit, be sure to come follow me on services like Twitter at HaggardMC, HAGGARDMC.
Right above your head.
Right above my head. I am on things like Blue Sky, but I never fucking use it because it was shitty when I started, and I'm pretty sure it's good now.
It's fine.
Because I know Player 2 is exclusively over there.
Yeah.
Which is a smart decision because Twitter's a shithole. But like, it's my shit. Like everyone shits on Twitter, but like I have built my algorithm in such a way that I don't get any of the shit I don't want to see.
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same, but it's a bit more spread now because I've got footy stuff in there as well.
Yeah, for me it's just wrestling and PlayStation.
I couldn't leave because of the footy, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's places you can find me. Probably the main beats. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm also, if you want to hear me talk wrestling, I don't do it as much anymore, because we're both busy as both my other co-hosts are currently. Life is doing life things. One of them's moving back to New Zealand, the other one's recovering from a heart attack. And that is Down Under the Ring. That's a wrestling podcast that I do with good friends at Fid McAwesome and The Warship. But of course, if you are a wrestling fan and you live in the Victorian era, you're guaranteed to see me at a wrestling show. I'm the guy at the commentary table being loud and standing up on the chair.
I've had a few people in my orbit kind of be in that sort of role and capacity over the years. It's, I don't know, just keep seeming to attract loudmouths who love wrestling. Or loud people. I won't call you a loudmouth, that's wrong. But like loud people.
Oh, no, I am
wrestling.
Exactly that. And that is why we've been talking for 2 straight hours about PlayStation. But of course,
could have doubled it. Let's be real, we could have doubled it.
If it wasn't like 10:30 and we both have work in the morning because school holidays end.
I'm back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, like I have to start talking to schools again to get with my day job. Be like, hey, you guys want to book in for next year? Yeah. Hey, blah, blah, blah. So like, I'm very glad you're all back in school tomorrow, might I add. But
that makes one.
Thank you for having me on, Padge. I appreciate it.
Not a problem at all.
Even though I do have a weekly PlayStation podcast, Max commonly doesn't see the industry the same way that you or I do. So you have the ability to really get dorky about it. Yep. Big fan. So thank you for having me on.
I'll make some cameos. Don't worry. We'll keep talking. We'll make it work.
Oh no, I just meant in general. It's like
no, but we'll make it work.
Having 2 hours conversation of just the industry of PlayStation makes me so happy.
I believe, yeah, I'm starting to see the desk in the shot now. It's because it's risen a few inches since we started.
Oh yeah, and it's a standing desk. Like I'm
yeah. All right. If you enjoyed this episode of Patch, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All the buttons down below. Hit the notification bell. That way you're alerted to every new video that goes live on the channel. That includes more episodes of Patch. We've got shorts, we've got Let's Plays, and more. All the stuff's there. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, opinion pieces, news, features, links to the podcast series Patched, the Player 2 Pixelcast. And whilst Dev Diary has been gone for quite some time, we referenced a few people tonight who've been on the show. So go check it out. Siobhan Reddy's there. Who else did we talk about? I'm sure there's other people that I said that have been on the show. I've had Naughty Dog talent on the show in the past. I've had lots of cool people. Go check it out. And maybe one day I'll get the time and mental bandwidth again to be able to bring it back. But it's not this day.
Look. Just like myself, you can only do so much. I can only do so much gaming. You can only do so much wrestling. You can only do so much gaming and so much footy. It's a tough balance.
And also
with our
trying
families
to manage a family in there too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked.
But
I wouldn't have it any other way though. I've been doing this shit for 11 years, and so have you. Yeah. So like,
it's good. Wouldn't have it any other way. And yeah, obviously you've just recently hit episode 400. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
If our numbering conventions weren't completely fucked at the beginning when we were having patched part 1, episode 1, part 2, 3, 4, then this would be close to like episode 450 or something like that. So
damn,
we've been both going around for quite some time now. But mate, thanks for coming on as always.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Paul James Games for myself on socials. As you said, Haggard MC for yourself on socials as well. Player2AU on Blue Sky, as you alluded to before. But otherwise, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you later.